Hello everyone. Today we are going to read the poem When You Are Old, written by William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats is one of the modern English poets. He was born in 1865 at Sandymount, Dublin, and he is Irish by birth. He studied art in London but returned to Ireland and got involved with the Irish Revolutionary movement. His father was a painter, and young Yeats was inspired by him in his vision, colors, and their beauty. Yeats fell in love with Maud Gonne but couldn't marry her. He wrote a few poems in memory of Maud Gonne. He was also influenced by Indian literature and philosophy. He received the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. When You Are Old is a love lyric addressed to Yeats' beloved Maud Gonne. In this poem, Yeats sings of spiritual love as contrasted with love that is based on physical attraction. The physical love vanishes with the passage of time, but his love for his beloved is deeper and spiritual. Such kind of love always remains fresh in the memory. The poem possesses some of the characteristics of Yeats' early poetry. It is indeed one of the finest poems of Yeats. This poem is addressed to Yeats' beloved Maud Gonne. The poet tells her that one day she will become old. Her eyes will lose their soft look and her hair will turn grey. She will sit by the fireplace and will be drowsy. The poet tells her that then she should think of her youthful beauty and her black and deep eyes. After recalling these things, she will bend down near the fireplace and will sadly remember how love has gone away and disappeared from the world. But only the poet's love for her is still fresh and constant. Now we are reading the poem and discussing its stanzas. We are going to read stanza first. When you are old and grey and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. In these lines, the poet asks his beloved to think sometimes of her youth when she has grown old. When she is old, grey haired and drowsy, sitting by the fireside, she should read this book, that is, the book of poems written by Yeats. Yeats is referring to his own book. Then she should think of her past when she was beautiful. Then her eyes looked deep and black. There was a heartwarming expression in them. Thus, the poet contrasts the beauty of her beloved with an imaginary picture of her in her old age. Now, we are going to discuss the second stanza. First, we are reading the text of the second stanza. How many loud your movements of glad grace, and loud your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. In these lines, the poet asks her beloved that when she is old, she should think of her past when she was young and beautiful. Many men admired her gaiety and beauty. Many of them loved her beauty. Some of them were genuine, while others were false lovers. But there was one man, that is the poet, who had a spiritual love for her. He loved her soul instead of her body. When she is old, she will remember that this man loved her not only in her youth but at every stage of her life. He loved her even when her face expressed sorrow and grief. The poet means to say that he will love his beloved even when her youth has left her. Now we are going to read stanza third. Firstly, we will read the text of stanza number third and then I will explain it in detail. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little little sadly, how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. In these lines, the poet tells his beloved that when she is old, she should picture to her mind the difference between what she was and what she is. Then she will bend near the fireplace in a state of melancholy. She will sadly recall how all her lovers except one have proved inconstant. All their love has fled and hidden among the mountains and the stars, but only the poet kept loving her although she had become old. The poet's love for her is spiritual, not physical. So we come to know after reading the poem that it is an intensely personal poem. This poem is addressed to his beloved Maudgon, and he contrasts the spiritual love with the physical love in the poem. The poet asks his beloved to think of her youth when she is old. She will remember that when she was young and beautiful, many men praised her. The poet was also one of them, but while others had only physical love for her, the poet loved her pilgrim soul. The poet means to say that the human soul is like a pilgrim which travels away from the body after having lived in it for some time. The human body is a temple.